Hey, welcome to another Milepost here on the V-Twin Life. V-Twin Life is brought to you by a few great companies. One being Crash Inc. Clothing. You can find them out of Oregon. Great company, specialized in clothes, doing work on bikes now. You can check them out at crashinclothing.com. They got a lot of great stuff. Hey, head on over there. Maybe they got something you like. And we can't forget Wild Ass. You like pounding miles, you like riding, you want to be in comfort? Hey, maybe strap a Wild Ass under your ass and ride with an air cushion and be comfortable for hours. And can't forget Custom Dynamics, leading the industry in lighting LED technology. Man, these guys got some great stuff. So head on over to Custom Dynamics and check it out. Now, let's get to another milepost of the V-Twin Life. Hey, what is up, everybody? Happy New Year. Come to you with Milepost 87, the first of 2023. Crazy. So tonight we got Mandee and Chad Ingvalson. I think I got it right. These guys, they love riding, doing a lot of great stuff. Also have found mile monsters, and they're a husband and wife that just enjoy the road and have a passion for life on two wheels. So it's like, hey, this is perfect because this is the kind of stories I love to share and meet more people. And we got a lot of common friends and became Facebook friends, and now we finally got them on the V-Twin Life. Got him here before Craig got him.
Hello.
Craig's in the side chat. I had to get him. So welcome, guys. Thanks for wanting to come on and tell some stories and share your adventures and how you found motorcycles.
Thanks for inviting us.
So when did you guys start riding? You can go one at a time or however you like. When did you find life on two wheels?
If you want to go first, you've been riding longer than me.
Well, I started as a kid at my grandparents' farm on an old Suzuki Trail 90, and then other stuff here and there. And then in 2012, we bought a limited, ultra limited, and been going since.
So you still got the same one?
No, we got rid of that one and then got a 14. And then Mandee rides a 14 Street Glide.
Ah, the good twin cams.
Yeah. So I didn't start until I was 36. So I had rode on the back with Chad just a few times and then had told him that I decided I wanted to learn how to ride. And his comment was, "You are riding. You mean you want to learn how to drive?" So, I started that. And what was it, the next day?
Yeah.
So the next day he bought me a 2004 Road King.
5.
Or 5. I had never been on a motorcycle before to ride. So it was kind of a little bit scary, but we bought a dirt bike and we started with that to teach me how to, the clutch, the brake, balance, all of that fun stuff. And we went out riding the dirt bike, and I think I hit way too many trees and told him that it really wasn't for me. And so then it was like, I'll worry about the street bike. So I went and took my class, had my permit, and then kind of went from there.
Nice. So, kind of how long did it take you to get comfortable before you, kind of started some little longer adventures, like full day rides or whatnot? It take you a little while to get comfortable to the road?
Yeah. So after I passed my permit test, I hadn't even taken the class yet. Chad put me on the Road King at his mom's house, and he's like, "I just want you to sit on it and get used to the clutch and the brake and what is it, to get used to just the engagement, the friction point." So I'm like, okay. So I do it just a few times, let the clutch out, and her driveway is sand. And so off I went, and I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, pull the clutch in. So of course I'm pulling the clutch in, and I'm whiskey throttling it, and the bike just goes like this. He comes running over, and he's like, and I look at him, and I'm like, I've got it. And the bike's tipping like this. And I ride the bike back up again, and I'm just shaking, of course. And he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine, but I don't want to do this again until I take my class." So I went and took the class, and then I think that weekend after I got home, we got the bike out, and I sat there for a while in the driveway, and I cried because I didn't know what to do. I mean, yeah, I'd taken the class and I'd passed the class and no issues at all, but I sat there and he told me, I'll sit here as long as you want me to sit here with you. And so even thinking about it, it's just kind of like, oh, but we get to the end of the driveway and I sat there again and I'm bawling.
I
And
just told her we'll idle out tanks of gas till you're ready. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, just getting comfortable and just understanding, the fundamental skills of it, and it all just will, comes together. I mean, obviously you did because you've been riding for a while now.
Yep.
yeah, it was, I don't even think we sat there for probably 5 minutes. And I'm like, I have to do this. I can't sit here all day. And off we went. And I think that first ride was probably 50 miles, maybe. And we rode and we came home and we just kept going. And it was just little trips, little trips. And then I think probably 3 weeks later,
Yep.
what was that one? To Sioux Falls.
Yep. And then from there, that's 3 from our one way.
So when did you kind
Did
of
we
really
freeze
feel
again?
that the bug sunk in and that you really liked it, that you were really enjoying it?
Yeah, I did. I would get a little nervous, and especially right before the ride, I have horrible anxiety, and it was like I will analyze everything. So if we have to go somewhere, I want to know where it is and how I'm going to pull in and how I'm going to get the bike in and all of it. And so that first trip to Sioux Falls was kind of that breaker. I think that was the trip that we hit that horrible rainstorm.
Yep.
And we got stuck under our awning and it was hail and flooding. And so we kind of hit that first bad weather. And then we hit hail and rain on the way home too. So it seemed like every time we took a trip, there was something that happened.
And all part of the adventure, the little things that go wrong. I mean, it can be frustrating those moments, but I think a lot of things, once you get by it, you look back and you can kind of chuckle and say, okay, we've learned that, we've gone from there. Now we move on, and some things suck at the moment, but when you can look back and laugh at them once you're back down the road or whatever the scenarios are, it's just Bill's part of the adventure and the fun and the stories that you get out of it.
Yeah, I never knew that rain could hurt so bad because you're like this, it's just downpouring and no church that we could find or place to even stop had any shelter. So I think that trip home we stood under some building with an easement that where the four of us could all stand underneath of it.
We were standing in their shrubbery.
I think one of the worst, I remember getting caught in a hailstorm, and I was wearing a half helmet and sitting there riding with my arm up over my face because the hail smacking me in the face, and it's like, this sucks. And you get through it, and you, like I said, you can laugh about it later. It's like the little lessons learned of whatnot. It's like shortly after that, it's like, screw this. I got went to the full face, back to a full face, and then with the modular helmet. And I love my modular, and they're saying, especially this time of year, it's so much nicer. Your face stays warmer. And it's the only way I like to ride.
I didn't switch to a full face until this year. And I am questioning myself why I rode for so many years without a full face.
Understandable.
I mean, it just kind of shuts off everything inside too.
Yeah, I was the same way. I rode with a half helmet for 20 plus years, and then finally, last year is when I went to the modular, and I love it. I mean, it's nicer times. It's warm. You can just flip the whole front up for whatnot, and then, but being able to have that weather protection also when you need it is really nice. And plus, this year, my wife and I, we went to the Lexan comm unit, so you can sit there and talk. Even my son was using on our trip, and it's really nice. I really enjoy it.
We went with those two. What did we go with?
Oh, I'm drawing a blank.
Senna's? I know there's
It's the
Senna's,
Fest, I can't remember
Cardos.
what it is though. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, it was the Senna's that we went with. And it's nice to actually have that system, because if I need to stop, I can actually tell him instead of having to get up on him and wave frantically at whatever and to get pulled over. And you're always screaming over the bike too. Hey!
I can remember like when Hayden was with me, because he just got his Yamaha when we rode to South Dakota last summer, and we were in some areas of eastern Montana going into Wyoming. We were hitting some serious headwinds, and a couple times he's like, "Hey, Dad, my gas light's already on." We'd only gone 90 miles. He's got a 4.9 gallon tank, but we hit some of those areas such a headwind. I don't know if maybe elevation played into it, but there's a couple fuel stops that it just his mileage went down the drain, and it's nice to be able to have that, be able to communicate instead of trying to, like I said, catch up, hand signals and whatnot. So they do make it really nice, especially being able to communicate and talk back and forth or whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Chad likes to sing. I like to talk to myself. So you kind of got to make sure that your systems are off, or else there's probably things that I'm cussing at that he shouldn't hear, or,
Hey, thanks, Honor. Yes, we got
So-
the Gavin Strong. We'll go this way. There we go. Gavin Strong tonight.
So it looks like Ranch Bender, did you find yourself less anxious on open roads versus in town? No.
We stayed in town for a couple weeks is all, and then hit the interstate.
The last 2 years probably have been my best riding, to where I don't get that anxious feeling anymore of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen. But I've had a lot of stuff happen to me. Chad even says my first 2 trips riding, I've had more situations happen to me than he has in all the years that he's been riding. I mean, I've had 2x4, a piece of plywood come out. I had a lady back into me in the Walmart parking lot and not even know that she hit me. And God. Then
just weather.
Yeah, weather.
And those the plywood and the lady hitting her was all on the same trip.
Holy cow. I couldn't imagine a piece of plywood coming at you and going down the road. That would.
Yeah, so you learn.
I think that's enough to scare anybody.
You kind of go like this.
It wasn't like Matt. I mean, no, it was
just a small
piece, but I mean, it was still enough. It caught her right in the front tire, and she mowed right over it, and on we went. And then that trip, that 05 was a cool bike. That's the one also we had to have it towed in to Sioux Falls and have the rear tire retrued. The spokes came loose. So
oh shoot,
that was interesting to watch. I couldn't watch that anymore, so I just told her pulled over. And
we got into Rapid City, and I think it was when Sturgis was just getting ready to start, but we kind of missed it. We went to Wyoming, and then we were headed back, and we stopped in Rapid and stayed, but we got back on the highway, and my bike kind of felt loose. And Chad always kind of explained it to me, because he's got a bigger or a faster boat that he drives, and he says you can always feel it in your seat.
Mm-hmm.
And so my bike kind of felt like it was doing this, and I told him pull over, and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, it just feels weird. So he went and rode it, and he's like, well, I don't know what you're feeling. And so we got back on again, and we went again, and he checked tire pressure, he checked everything, and I think he went out and he said he rode it at 100 and didn't feel it. So we got back on the interstate again and just kept going, and he was behind me, and it just kept, I split, and I was even down to like 40, and it was just doing this on me. And so we pulled over, and we called Sioux Falls Harley-Davidson, and then they had asked, check your spokes, right? Yep. And almost every single one of them was loose.
Holy cow.
So they
Yeah, that'd
pulled
be
us
scary
in
going
and
on
they
the
called.
highway.
Yeah.
It was horrible. I mean, and following behind her was horrible to watch because it was literally tracking, like, you could see the front tire straight and you could watch the ass end track and see the front tire. And I mean, it was horrible.
Jesus.
So I'd had enough of that, pulled over. They called someone in on a Saturday, and he came in, trued the wheel, and off we went.
Yeah, and that takes a little while, especially with spokes. I had a friend that, I mean, he'd lace up some, dirt bike wheels, and I've seen it done, and that's time consuming. It takes a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had a good food truck.
Yeah, great food truck.
There you go.
We sat there for a really long time until they fixed it, and then got back on the road and got home. But that was quite the experience. I told him I don't know if I'll ever ride anything that has those kind of wheels again.
Yeah, I like the wagon wheels. I mean, I've never been a big fan of spoked wheels. Also, in the aspect of, when it comes to cleaning and washing it, they can be very time consuming, especially to upkeep and, keep them all clean just on the, that side of it, let alone the maintenance of going through, 6 months, 8 months just to go through and check all your spokes, make sure they're not coming loose. And I've just never been a big fan for my style. It's just, I pass on those.
Yeah, it was sketchy, that's for sure. But after that, I mean, it was, and I would get, what's that?
No, go ahead.
I think after that trip was kind of when I went, I was ready for, because I would always complain that I was tired. And of course, he was never tired because he had the Ultra. And he was, had the fairing and but I'm fighting I got a windshield, So then it was kind of like, I was ready for that upgrade of the speakers and the fairing and something that I loved that Road King, but I love my stride.
Oh, I bet. They're beautiful bikes. So when do you think you got the bug where you really knew that you really enjoyed traveling? You wanted to, go a little farther, go a little more?
We started out from the beginning. Because we had traveled. Every year we went down to Missouri, and it was, there was a couple years we didn't ride a whole lot. Mm-hmm. But last year we rode a lot. The last 2 years we've really rode quite a bit. We're by no means those long distance riders. Heck, we're happy sometimes in 6 months if we can get 5,000 miles in.
Well, and that on those acts, everybody's life scenarios are different, and it's and same with I've read posts and being in some of the long distance rider groups, and a long distance ride is different to every person. It doesn't mean the same thing to everybody. So all of us have our strengths and weaknesses, so to speak, of, how long we can ride it and how far they like to go. And it's one of those things, to each their own. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Sometimes it's fun to push yourself and challenge yourself. Okay, can I get this far? Well, I don't know. Let's see what I can do. And it's fun. By no means, I haven't ridden as far as, a lot of people. You got the bun burner gold guys that are doing 1,500 plus in under 24 hours. I'm like, I don't know if I even got that in me.
That's a goal. I want to try it.
Yeah, I agree.
What's the worst case that's going to happen? You're going to fall short? Okay.
Yeah, okay, I guess I'll just get another saddle.
At least I tried.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I knew she'd be a good rider. A little bit longer distance. That trip to Wyoming, which was our second trip, we drove from Brainerd to Chamberlain, South Dakota, got a motel room, and then she turned around and said that she wanted to be at her sister's house the next day, which was like 575 miles. So we finished that off pretty quick.
Sorry, it was cooling off. Had to throw some wood in the fire.
He bailed.
Bye.
I'm here. I was still listening.
Yeah,
I
that
could tell the fire was getting low.
Because it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we woke up that morning and I looked at the map and I'm like, we can make it to my sister's. And I think it was almost 600 miles. Yep. And we did. We did. It wasn't a whole lot of stops, but I think we pulled in at dark.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the longest that you've gone so far?
Well, my 1,000, and that I did this year. So I did the 1,116.
Oh, nice.
In 18 hours.
That's good.
Yeah, I got off track. I wasn't happy. I'm like, my GPS tells me that I went through some river. I'm not even quite sure where I went, but I got off course somewhere. So I did my 1,000. I hit my 1,000 at 16 hours and a minute.
Dang. I know the last one I did last summer, we got caught in some road construction deals, and it was 20.5 for 1,017 miles. That was a long day.
And I did that one by myself. So that was the first actual long ride that I did by myself. And I wanted, and Chad even asked, do you want anybody to go with you? And I told him, no, I want to do this by myself. And that was just kind of one of those goals that I had to be able to do it. And I did.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So was that up through Minnesota?
Nope. I left home and I went down to Texas.
Oh, okay.
So my end point was Dallas. And so I made it down there. Chad and Philip were down there for a tournament, and I met them down there. And then 2 days later, I rode down to go see Gavin.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that, I honestly feel like anywhere in Texas takes forever to get anywhere. Because I know Jessica told me, oh, it's like, I don't even remember how many hours or miles. And I'm like, oh, 250 miles, I think is what it was. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll see you in like 3 hours. I think it was like 6 hours later, I finally pulled in. I'm like, holy crap, it takes forever to get anywhere here.
It's a huge state. I mean,
yeah.
I want to get there and visit, and go down there and see it. I've never been that far, but it is huge.
Mm-hmm. Michael was telling me, to go look it up because I want to ride all of the scenic byways here in Minnesota this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so he told me, look up all of the scenic byways in Texas. So I went and I looked up all of those. And then Kimberly, I think, told me that the shortest one there, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in Texas, that the shortest one is like 600 miles.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of them, too.
Yeah, there's a lot. You'll have to look it up. It's crazy.
I will. That's kind of interesting. That'd be really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Might even have to look that up for Washington, see how many there are up here. I know there's a few of them here on the peninsula alone. Yeah,
Minnesota's got them, and I think there's maybe 10, 15, I think. But they're short. They're not very long. We could probably do it in a couple of days.
So Michael's at just over 600.
Yeah. And that's the shortest one, correct?
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So how'd you find Mile Monsters?
Go ahead.
Craig.
Oh, through Craig
Johnson Memorial Ride.
Yep.
Yeah, we were on Craig's Memorial Ride, and Riot came out to ride it with, and that's how we met him.
Oh, okay.
And so after we were done with the ride, we sat around and visited with him for a while, and that's where we kind of got to know it. But then more when Hokahei, because we had met up with Craig there and got to meet more people with the monsters and then got more involved with it that way.
It's amazing how much it's grown. I mean, I was fortunate, to meet Riot through doing this a year and a half ago, because he was on one kind of early in the beginning. And actually through having Craig on, Craig actually introduced me to him. And it's amazing. I remember he was talking about starting it back then, and just to see the growth of what he's built, and the community around him that has rallied and supported it, and everything that he's done. It's just freaking awesome.
Yeah. Yep. He's built quite the team. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And
So what kind of plans?
It's cool to be part of that team. I mean, that was
absolutely. I agree.
Yep. And that was when I did my Ride 1K. I knew that that's what I wanted to do my ride was for the boys.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I did good. I raised $4,600 for them, and I was super proud of that.
That is super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you got plans for, rides this year? You guys have anything you're kind of looking forward to or penciled in already?
Yeah, we've got a couple of rides with Craig that we're doing. I have my day for the Monsters 100, and I'm doing that on June 4th. I kind of have my route planned out a little bit, and I believe my middle son's going to ride that with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Chad and Philip, unfortunately, I'm trying to figure out how I can be to both places. Philip has a jiu-jitsu tournament in California. So that weekend that I picked. So it's trying to figure out if I can fly out quick and then come back and do my 1,000 miles for the Monsters.
Yeah, so you're like 2 weeks before me then. I'm the 17th of June.
Okay. Yep. I'm hoping it's warm. I picked June 4th in Minnesota.
You can't really be colder than when you left in October. So
yeah, when I left in October, what was it when I left in October?
High 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cold.
It was cold.
Especially, yeah, you get the wind chill and you're, from the highway and riding, and yeah, it gets damn cold.
I think my riding temperature was 15. I stopped and put an extra pair of socks on because my left foot was the only thing that kept getting cold.
Now, since you guys are in Minnesota, do you do heated gear, or you just go without it? Just kind of layer up.
This is the first year that to do the 1K, she bought heated gear. But other than that, we just always layered up.
That's what I've done. I haven't gone to the heated gear yet. I've just always, dress in layers and go for the best. I
went with, I'm lucky I work for a power sports company, Brothers Motorsports in Brainerd. And so the accessory guy really helped me get my gear ordered, what would be the best for the ride. So I went with the Tour Master gear that's insulated, plus has the armor in it too. Mm-hmm. And so I rode every day, and it didn't matter what the temperature was. I rode so I could make sure that I was ready and how I was going to dress for the weather. And I hit rain in Minneapolis, and then Iowa is where it got cold. And that's where it really started going, why are you doing this? And why did you pick this day? October 13th.
Yeah, getting into fall.
Yeah. But once I got into southern Iowa, I actually had to start shedding gear because I was getting so hot.
That's how it was up here. We had an Indian summer. I mean, it didn't really get cold until once we got into November. Then it started getting wet and cold. But we went from literally, 70, 80 degrees. All of a sudden, 2 days later, it's like 40 and 30. It's like it flipped a switch and fall's here. Mm-hmm. It's like damn near almost skipped fall and just went right from summer to winter. Yeah, we leather. I mean, of course, but the bikes usually don't come out until we get a good rain because there's so much salt on the roads that we just don't like to have the bike out either. And see, we get that up here too. It's like without not so much a salt, but all the de-icer that they lay on the roads, it is so corrosive. And same thing, you gotta wait, for a good rain to really clear the highway because that stuff will just eat your bike and just destroys the aluminum and the chrome. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, that and get the sand off the corners and stuff too.
Very true. So. Yeah, so we had that big cold snap with the snow up here, so the state was just layering the de-icer. But I mean, they did great on the highways around here until we got the freezing rain. Then that kind of foobar stuff. But they did a great job trying to keep the highways the best they could. I mean, side roads was another story, but the main highways, was well. I mean, but they were using the hell out of that de-icer, and even like my new work truck. I mean, I was up there watching on the weekends just trying to get the stuff off, and it was amazing just in a week's time how much it could foobar stuff. The nice finish.
Hopefully we can ride. I think we're going to be taking the bikes down. I'm going to Monsters Day with Gavin the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And Chad's going to hopefully haul the bikes down, and we can be able to ride while we're down there too for a little bit.
Nice. You guys going to stay down there for a little while?
Yeah.
Just the weekend.
Just the
kind
weekend?
of a quick trip. Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Goals, I think we're just going to try and ride as much as we can. And we found some really cool roads this last summer too. We would just get up and go ride. And the one ride that we did, the GPS wasn't working real good. So while we were sitting at lunch, I sat and wrote directions down and then plastered them to my bike. So I kind of knew home without the best time, like the major byway to get home. And that was actually pretty cool to do it that way. So I'd like to do a couple more trips like that too.
They're fun. You guys like enjoy like getting out for overnight adventures, take off for like on a weekend or something, trying to pack stuff up and go, or kind of more a lot of day rides?
We're really good about the spur of the moment. We did it this summer too, where we're like, oh, let's go to Duluth. So we ran up to Duluth and we kept looking at the time.
Yeah, we went for a burger and ended up at the border of Canada. So
we had nothing. I looked in my bag and I'm like, oh, I actually have a coat. Because once we hit Duluth, it started to get cool. Chad had a sweatshirt with him. We made it up to the border and I think probably found the last room that there was, had to go buy a toothbrush and toothpaste at the convenience store and spent the night and went home the next morning.
So how far is that for you guys? I mean, is that a good at least half day, 3/4 of a day to get all the way up to the border?
Feels late that day.
yeah, but it's what 2.5, I suppose, about roughly 2 hours to Duluth, and then I don't know, probably maybe an hour and a half or so farther up from there, maybe roughly. So half day, maybe.
Okay. So you guys enjoy, kind of more or less riding back roads and kind of, the 2-lane highways, or do you enjoy just, trying to get somewhere quicker at times when you do the interstates, or, what's your guys' best way you enjoy riding?
Either or. I like interstate. Just as you can set it and forget it, basically, and just rip.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, either or. It doesn't. Both. I mean, if we have it, say it's going to Sturgis or Rapid City or whatever, I like to get there and get it done, and then there's so much stuff to do after you get to your destination,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I totally get what
then
you're
you can
saying.
ride all over. Just get the crappy part out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I shouldn't say the crappy part, but just get that initial drive out of the way.
Just get there and get
and
ready.
riding on well, and like South Dakota, riding, if anybody's rode through South Dakota on 80, it's just a wind fest. I mean, 90. So you're 90. Yeah, so you're getting bucked around like crazy. And when you get by those semis, it's fun.
Yeah.
But just riding out in Rapid City is... Mm-hmm. We love to ride out in Sturgis, though. That's probably one of our favorite places to go ride.
That I agree. I'd never been there until this last summer, and it is absolutely beautiful. There's so much stuff. I mean, and I didn't really get to see, even my wife didn't get to see as much as we wanted, but there's just, especially love history. I mean, I'd love to spend a day up in Deadwood and Keystone, but there's so much stuff, and it is just absolutely gorgeous roads.
Mm-hmm. Yep. we always go through like Iron Mountain, and then they're like, okay, you want to go do it again, and then you turn around and then you go do it again.
As Dylan Dwyer, you got to do it both ways.
Yeah, Dylan always tells us, yeah, you have to do it both ways.
Oh, Iron Mountain Road was awesome. Actually, I got my sign still.
Nice.
Springer Mike got
Yeah,
it for me
you're
on
not-
the T-shirt.
Was it the first year we went out there? We sat for what? An hour. Somebody made it all the way through, but didn't make the last corner.
Oh, shoot.
So, I mean, does he actually get his sticker or his shirt if he didn't make it all the way through?
Well, he probably should have because somebody else took him up. But
Oh, somebody took him out.
both directions stopped
Oh,
that day, so we tried both directions.
Yeah, that was a fun road. Those
the hot
pigtail
rods. We
bridges
want to
are
go ride
freaking
the.
cool.
Yeah, they are
Yeah,
for sure.
we want to ride the hot rods out there, but either you're not going to ride the next day because there's no suspension in those things at all.
Oh, the older bikes?
A couple hardtails.
Oh, yeah. That would, yeah. That's a whole nother lifestyle.
They're fun.
I had one built for her that started life as a Buell, a 94 Buell, and then lowered it and hardtailed it, and it's pretty okay.
Oh, that's cool. Something different.
Did you see that black and white picture that I posted with me on the hardtail?
I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and I'll have to look.
So these are one of those harebrained ideas that go on in Mandee's head. It happens frequently. And I'm like, oh, I want to take it out to VIR, which is the straight track. And I want to race it. And so, of course, Chad's like, okay. And him and the boys get together and I practice on my road.
On a closed course.
Yeah,
On a closed course.
course. It
Yeah.
wasn't on my road.
No. Closed course of Mexico, I believe.
Yeah. And so we go out to the track, and the first one, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. None.
She was right.
Yeah, it was no idea. So, and it's Wednesday night. Bring what you, or what is it?
Run what you brung.
Run what you brung. So we get everything up there and I get checked, and it's funny because I'm like, I got my emergency pull switch thingy that I need on there, and my helmet, and I think that's what all I need.
Switch.
The kill switch. So I pull up and the guy's like, come on. And I'm like, I'm trying. So I get pulled up and he's like, good. And I moved just a little bit and red light. And I look at him, I'm like, what did I do? And he's like, just go. So I went, and then I came back around and they're like, well, how was that? And I'm like, fine, let's do it again. So you got to go back around and wait in line. And I get up to the line and I'm sitting there and I watch the light and I'm thinking that I'm some NHRA chick that's going to go fast on her motorcycle because I watch it every Sunday. And the light went green and I let my clutch out and the bike went like this. And I went in between the tree where the start is into the other lane. And if I would have been a second or two.
All I can say is thank God for fast Honda Civics because she'd got ran over.
That's on the Civics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was close. I mean, he was gone, but it was a good thing he was gone.
Yep. I missed the tree. I didn't hit the tree, so they have to fix that. I made it to the end and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And I haven't been back.
They might worry if they saw you come back. Oh shit, she's back.
Yeah, they probably would.
Hey, this year she showed up with a headlight.
Yeah, I actually had headlight this year. But I mean, it's fun. Those are the things that, oh, okay, I'll try it.
Hey, why not? Give it a go and see what you think.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. People tell me all the time I need to take the street glide out there. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I probably won't be out there again. I'll watch.
They are fun to watch.
Yeah. We love them.
I haven't seen it in person, but it would be fun. I enjoy sometimes watching it on TV and whatnot, but that would be cool in person.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We love watching the motorcycles.
I mean, you used to go to the race. I mean, you used to do the hill climbs and go to the motocross and that whatnot, but I've never done that, the other side of it, when it comes to, drag race and whatnot on the street. I've done sand drags and dirt drags myself, but nothing on the road.
I'd like to see the hill climbs.
Oh, it's so much fun. I mean, it's been years and years since I've done it, but that was some amazing adrenaline rushes.
I have a funny feeling now we'll just be preparing a street glide for longer pavement stuff. So
Get some more goodies for it.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. It needs more goodies.
It's such a fun way to travel. I mean, I always enjoy traveling by motorcycle, and the smells. I mean, everything's different when you're on a bike. You're not in a car. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain for people who haven't done it, but I mean, when you get out and you ride, you kind of can understand it, and it's just more personal.
Mm-hmm.
We've traveled from here to Wyoming a lot for a lot of years, and it's amazing traveling on the bikes. How much more stuff you notice that you didn't notice when you were in the car.
I can agree. I can totally see
That's
that.
pretty cool. Going
So
down
how
the road
long does
like
it take you guys? So how long of a ride is that?
From where?
Kind of where you guys are to where you going in Wyoming?
Like around Rollins or Rock Springs, Wyoming,
Okay.
and it's like 1,200 miles.
So you split that up into 2 days, or?
Well, we
can do it in a day now. I promise.
Things are going to change a bit, I'm sure.
Oh.
And we have family that lives in Grand Junction, Colorado, so there's a really cool burrito truck there that I like. And so I'm sure there'll be a morning that we wake up and decide we want burritos, and we'll be there the next morning.
Colorado's another state I want to get down and venture through. That and Utah. I want to go through Zion Arches. I want to, see some of the landscape of southern Utah. Need to venture further.
Yeah, you'll like that.
We want to take our side-by-sides out there too. And is it Moab?
Yep.
And go out to Moab and go there. Yep.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just need a bigger trailer to haul all the toys so I don't have to make decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike's Utah's his favorite state. And yeah, Wrench Bender Nick, the smells and the fresh flowers to the road kills.
Yeah. Chad, so we go down to Chad's from down there, and of course it's farm country. and I'm always, it's so gross down there. It's pigs and cows, and it's just horrible.
Especially in the summertime.
I know
with the heat.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
When I was doing that 1K, when I was going through Iowa, I'm like, oh, yep, there's a pig farm. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah,
I'd
especially in
rather
the
have
summertime,
fresh
you get
flowers.
some of those where it's 80 and 90, 100 degrees out, and you go by some of those dairy farms, like, oh my God, it's bad.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The deer here are horrible.
Yeah, you can usually tell when one's in the ditch.
Smell them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, we did. And have you ever heard of the Grotto? I know that's one of Hop's favorite places to go.
I don't think so.
The Grotto of Redemption.
The Grotto of Redemption. It's in Iowa. And so we ran down there we did a day trip down there and back. And we got a little bit of a late start that day too.
That was a test run for her 1K.
And we rode down and back, and it was 600 miles. We got dark, but both of us were like, we could still keep going. It was just a nice ride.
It's fun when it's you get more comfortable with it, and you can, what used to be okay, say just throwing 500 miles out. It's like, okay, this is kind of my limit, and then you start riding more, and it's like, well, that wasn't that bad. Let's go another 100 and whatnot, and you just grow it. Can't think of the word I'm trying to think of, but it just becomes more comfortable, and you can just push yourself a little farther, and it just feels fine, and you're having fun.
Yep. Well, and it's comfort too. I mean, we protested. He can attest to this, but we protested putting a wild ass on. It's like, we don't need that. I just put a new seat on my bike, or I've got this on my bike. But once we put that wild ass, distance how we feel, everything. And I even sit on one at work on my work desk.
It's amazing the difference they make. It honestly is.
I've 2 of them. I've
contemplated taking mine on my work truck.
Do it. Chad takes them on the airplane.
Smart. Those things are uncomfortable.
Yep.
I hope he ain't on here. Yeah, it's
Now we're losing you.
It's definitely a useful tool.
Oh, they are. I
Are
know
we
when
back
Hayden
again?
borrowed my... Yeah, you're back. I remember when Hayden borrowed the one from my dad. He's like, do you think I have to give it back? You got to talk with Grandpa on that. Not me. I'm out of this loop.
Yeah.
Every one of the kids have one now. So...
Our boys
it made a big
ride
difference
too.
for it, yeah. So it's like my son Hayden, and my younger one will be soon. And even with Amy, it made a large difference for her, even on the back, because she had longer legs and like riding, even lowering the rear floorboards on the roadglide, it just put so much pressure on her tailbone where she'd get uncomfortable after an hour, hour to 2 hours. And we put the Wild Ass on there too, and it made a big difference for her.
For my 1K, Craig told me, which one is it that I have? I think it's a Saddleman. It's the smaller one that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, take Chad's with you too, because you're going to want to switch that out after you get a couple 100 miles in. And I switched that out. Once I switched it to the bigger one, that completely changed my ride. I mean, it just almost like I honed in and went. And I didn't have any issues. I wasn't sore, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Craig knows.
Yeah, it's crazy the difference they make. I didn't think it would make that big a difference. Like, well, did a 1K before, when I just had, I have the Harley touring seat. I'm like, okay, we'll give it a shot. And yeah, once you spend time on one, it's like, it's like, fuck that. I ain't riding without it.
Yep.
Right.
No way.
Yep. I even asked Chad to go get ours because ours were on our bikes in storage. I'm like, can you please go get our seats out of there so I have it for my work desk at home? So I sit on, I've got them on both desks, the bikes, everything.
Yeah, I keep contemplating taking one of them and just throwing it in my work truck and trying it out. I'm sure it'd be
Try
nice.
it.
I mean, my seat's not bad. I mean, I'm fortunate my work truck's brand new, but sure to add more comfort, that's for sure. Between the Wild Ass and the air ride seat, it'd be riding on air.
Yep.
So what, besides your your Monster Day this year, you guys got any other travel adventures you kind of got planned?
Just the rides that we have. I don't think. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It'll be just get up and go. We're really good at doing that.
Yeah.
We just get up and go.
Just by the seat of your pants type deal.
Spur of the moment, just go.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Who plans?
I try to sometimes, but you never know. Sometimes
Yeah.
it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yep.
But no,
Anytime
the
we
spur of the
plan,
moment ones are fun.
something comes up.
We did that down to Missouri one time, and we hit some really horrible weather in southern Iowa. And there was our son let us know, like, this is we're in Montgomery, Missouri. And he goes, here's the break in the weather. You need to go. And so we hammered and took off. And she's like, oh, I think we can make it. She's so full of it. It poured. I mean, man, it was just flooding the roads. It sucked. We made her, but man, we were wet. But that was a seat of the pants type deal too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was having to lift my legs up because the water was so high on the bike. And then when we pulled into the apartment, he's like, I don't know why we didn't stop. And I'm like, but we're here. So why does it matter?
Hey, Craig says you plan, so I don't know what you're talking about. Your spur of the moment.
Every once in a while, she is a spur of the moment. Planning, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That's kind of where I ran into when I first started writing. I was the type of person that I needed to know where we're going, how long we're going to be there, what do I need to pack for? And he would just tell me, let's go.
How do I pull into Vic and Jess's house? And because they live on a hill, and how she was going to pull in to park and how she was going to roll the bike back.
I made myself sick over that one because I knew they lived on a hill. And this was my first year of writing. And I sat the whole ride going, okay, we can't come in this way. We have to come in this way because then I can know. I mean, yeah, I'm getting better, but yeah, it's tough.
I mean, it was only 1,200 miles to figure it out, but
Yeah, you don't want to overplan. Just wait.
No, not at all.
Or analyze.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm just the only one that does it or if there's anybody that is just, I'm getting better to where I can just, okay, let's go. But, the struggle's real.
Hey, you can only do what you can do. And you know your limitations and where you're at and your writing style. So, as you get more comfortable, you'll figure it out and, maybe you'll come up with new plans.
Yeah. So Craig I talked to him the other day and I'm like, I need to practice U-turns. He's like, we'll practice them this summer. And I'm like, okay, that makes me sick to my stomach.
He literally just
said it. Yeah. Yep.
Turn your damn head.
Yeah. If I would just turn my head.
Gotta look where you're going.
Yep. Yeah. I want to do and Craig and I have talked about it, and we've both Chad and I have talked about it too, about taking that that advanced writers course.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do that just to make it better.
Oh, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with trying to increase your knowledge and awareness and everything else. It's like watching some of those guys. They do those courses with the cones and speed riding through them, and some of the the police officer drills that some of the motor units do. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah. Yep. During the winter, I try and watch Ride Like a Pro. Have you ever watched him before?
I'm not sure if I've watched his. No.
Yeah, I like to watch his, and then other ones, of course. But yeah, and Craig said he does make a lot of U-turns. He does. Mm-hmm. And they're always left. We're supposed to work on rights.
Right, then a left, little couple figure eights.
Yeah. Oh, he did say we would be good at figure eights by the time he got done too.
Perfect.
And I'm not videoing it either.
Well, maybe somebody else will.
We'll leave the comm system off on my helmet too, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of swear words coming out of it.
Craig will be over in the bushes with the video camera with his GoPro. All right, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, Jerry Palladino, or whoever that is.
Yeah, Robert
that's who I watch,
Simmons. I've never watched him. I'm not sure What was
Nope.
the other one? Jerry Palladino?
Yep, that's Ride Like a Pro.
Okay.
Yep. Do you watch the other one?
Yeah, Robert Simmons has good ones too.
I might have seen, can't remember if it was his or not. But yeah, I mean, there's so many of them different, so many channels to watch and so much stuff. And I don't know, I have a lot of fun. I love watching the travel style documentaries, on the motorcycles. And I really enjoy watching that stuff. It's a lot of fun. You can kind of build that bucket list or even just see the other places and watching, it's amazing. Some of these people's skills they have when it comes to editing their videos and everything they put together is unreal.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say that, Craig. It's not. It's Richard Simmons. I don't know.
No, he doesn't ride in shorts.
Oh, that's funny.
This summer, I went out on my pedal bike and practiced figure eights too, just on my pedal bike.
That's a lot of work.
So I'm like, okay.
Agreed.
What's that?
Agreed.
What did he
It's
say?
a lot of work.
It is, but I stayed close to home.
It didn't make any difference. She still doesn't do them.
I did it like 2, and I was like, yeah, I did a U-turn, and I didn't tip my bike over.
Oh, that's too. Well, at least if you're on a bicycle, it's a lot easier to quickly get off when it goes bad.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's
yeah.
funny.
Be the boss of your motorcycle. I think. Yeah, I'm a boss until it comes to a U-turn.
Hey, you just go at your pace, and if it's got to be a little wider, then you make the turn a little wider.
Mm-hmm. Like Chad does too, but we both try and practice something new every ride. So even like those slow speed, keep your feet up and just as long as you can until you absolutely have to put your feet down.
Yeah.
Those different goals, that we try and work on too. I think I honestly have to say 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I rode my hot rod a lot. And I think that kind of helped me be more comfortable on my street glide too, because it just rides so much smoother.
Oh, I bet it does. I mean, absolutely. I mean, yeah, with a hardtail, that's a whole night and day difference from you're hopping on anything that has some suspension, as opposed to riding a hardtail, where you're literally the suspension.
Yep. And I need a football field to turn that one around, because it's kind of got the front end that goes out.
And the front end's raked a bit.
Oh yes. Okay.
So no, her riding's come a long way.
A little bit more, which is awesome. And you're enjoying it, you're having fun doing it, and to me, that's how I feel is the biggest reward. When you enjoy it, you have a lot of fun, and it keeps pushing. You want to do more and more. Then, hey, why not have fun? And enjoy the ride.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we love it.
Yeah. There's no cooler base also. When I have Mandee and then both boys and we're riding together, that's like really the coolest thing for me.
Oh, I'd 100% agree with that.
Yeah, it's exciting to have the boys.
It is. I mean, I really enjoy the time where my dad, myself, and then my older son was riding. It'll be great. Hopefully next year my younger son will get him on the road, and all 4 of us riding together. And the fun thing is, my daughter loves it too. I mean, there's been times where, she lives a couple hours away from me up in northern Puget Sound area. And I'd get a text on a Monday or Tuesday, "Hey, Dad, it's supposed to be really nice this weekend. We should go for a ride. Come up on Saturday morning, pick me up." I'm like, all right. Twist my arm to go for a ride. And she lives in some, there's some beautiful country up in the North Sound area through the Skagit Valley, and you can get up to the North Cascades area, Whidbey Island, and there's just some great back roads and amazing scenery up there, and it's a beautiful area to go ride. And when she wants to go ride, it's like, shoot, no problem.
Yep. Oh, dang. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Twist my arm.
Yeah. Our youngest rode out with his boss to Sturgis this year, and they did like the Bighorn Mountains and Beartooth Pass, and I want to go ride those too. And I told Dad, I said, I know Sturgis is fun and it's got so much riding, but I want to go ride over the Bighorns and Beartooth Path and stuff this year too. It would be fun to go do that.
I'm looking at trying to maybe do Beartooth this summer. The other fun one in Montana that, I mean, I've done, a lot of people have ridden, it's popular, is Lolo Pass out of Missoula. It takes you down over the Bitterroots and then takes you down to the panhandle of Idaho. That Lolo is a beautiful ride too. It's like 99 miles of twists and turns.
Nice.
Yeah. I love watching where people go. So I have a list of, okay, I want to go here. It's like Hopper will post stuff and I'm like, oh, that's close to us. That's a must go.
Oh yeah, you see like his videos and Go Home Ken and K Solo, those guys, hop me, they're right everywhere. And same way, oh, that looks cool. You make a little note of this place and these places, and it is fun. And that's whole part of this is building that bucket list of places that other people, we're all in different parts of the country, but you build that bucket list of places you want to ride and go see, and we all have a different story and we all live in different places, but we all share that common ground. We have some cool stories to share and help everybody else learn where some cool places go. I mean, everybody talks about, hey, I want to ride Europe, I want to do Switzerland or Australia, but it's like there's so much within our own border that so many people, I think, they don't know until you whether you're watching stuff on YouTube or listening stories like these, and you can learn these other places, because we have so much amazing back roads and history and places you can see within our own borders that it could take forever to see a lot of stuff within our own country.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'd like to hear, like, people that are on here too, just what their favorite rides are in their areas too. I mean, we have some. Chad and I rode. Is it the Otter Trail? I can't remember what it was. It's a scenic byway here. We've never rode it before, and I told him I don't know how we've missed this, but we just went a different way and rode that byway, and it was beautiful. Ottertail. Yep, Ottertail Scenic Byway.
Oh, and for us, like, I can speak for Washington, one of the, the hidden gems that so many people like, which is the North Cascade Highway. It's absolutely amazing. And so I know when Springer Mike and Wrenchbender Nick, they live in Gillette, Wyoming, and they're coming up here this summer up to my place and kind of building them a route through Washington, because they both love history. So we're going to kind of show them some cool places and back highways to take up over here. Then I'll meet them somewhere in the northern Cascades area, bring them this way. But it's like they said, hey, build us kind of a ride. What would be really cool if, places we want to see, and, kind of after getting to know them, it's like, hey, not a problem. But it's like you say, we all live in cool places. So when you're traveling somewhere, it's really neat to be able to have that support within the community of people, hey, I'm going through this area. What's something cool to see? What's a great ride or, cool roads to go to adventure on?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know, Springer Mike said the Bighorn Mountains are beautiful. I actually grew up in Wyoming, and during the summers, my grandpa would take us up on the Bighorns and we would camp up there. And so even just him back when I was growing up, we would ride in the back of the camper on the way back down. And what is that? That's a steep grade, but it's just beautiful up there.
Which part of Wyoming? No, so where's the city around the Bighorns?
Gillette. So Gillette and Lovell, and then Cody. And then you'll go into Yellowstone.
Oh, so kind of the northern part then is that the northern part of Wyoming?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I went the other way, then I missed that, because I know when we left, we went to Gillette. It was just outside of Gillette. We headed south. God, I think
Did you go down to Thermopolis?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because if you went south, you probably went like...
Well, it depends on how... Yeah,
Thermopolis, Lander, Riverton in there. The Wind River Canyons in Wyoming that's beautiful.
Because we headed south.
There too, if you're going, that's...
And we went through like central Wyoming because we headed for Jackson. Also, we headed down to Casper from Gillette. That's where it was. And then at Casper, we headed west.
Okay.
which where there was nothing.
Yeah, it's pretty
except
there.
antelope and no, it's not. It was not. There was lots of oil derricks and a ton of antelope.
North, it is.
Oh, I'd say Central Wyoming. No,
So-
it wasn't.
so
It was so
sagebrush.
boring. Yeah, lots of it.
No, well, so remember when we talked the other day when I told you Gillette, you go down to, well, Hot Springs. Hot Springs over to, where did we go? So one of these fun trips that we went on, we stopped in Hot Springs, South Dakota. Chad we stopped to get fuel, and he's like, how are you on fuel? I'm like, I'm good. I got 3/4 of a tank. He's like, you're going to want to fill. I'm like, no, I'm good. You're going to want to.
There's
Nope.
nothing there. Nothing.
I grew up there. I should know that nothing there.
Or
And-
should listen.
Yeah, or should listen. We made it to the rest area, and where is it, Torrington?
Yeah.
We were headed to Torrington, and we're going, and I look down, and I'm like, oh, I am not going to say anything.
Yeah. She's like, I got to get gas. I'm like, should have. You should have.
Yeah.
My light was on, and that's what I told you. I was watching the Hoka Hay when they hit Rock Springs, and I kept going, you guys better get gas. There is no place anywhere to get gas in certain areas, and I'm watching people, and I'm like, oh, they're going to Casper. You better get gas in Casper because you're not going to be able to get it anywhere else.
See, that's why I like to travel.
Here.
With one of these little fuel reserve
Yeah.
bottles. It's a cheap sense of security in those
Yeah.
moments of time. It's got a case, so it straps on my
Yeah,
tour
that will be-
pack, and yeah.
Those will be added this year.
Yeah, Lowbrow Customs has some nice ones. They have little carrying case, so like I'll strap it on my luggage rack in my tour pack, and it sits there. Or if I got my tour pack bag on, I have a Kimimoto tour pack bag. I'll strap it to the side of that, fill it up. But it is that cheap sense of security because, you never know. I think I was telling you that when I did my first big trip down to Boise. Going through a country that I'm not familiar with, areas, to my brother's house. I'm like, hey, I'm going to get gas. It was between like La Grande and Ontario, Oregon. Get on Google. Hey, there's a Chevron station here. I'm going to get gas here. Kind of pinned it in my little thing because, sometimes I'm going through areas I'm not familiar with. I'll over plan. I'll, Google Maps gave 150 miles. I want to start looking for fuel. So this place comes up. Okay, cool. I'm going to stop here. And we pull in there, and the fuel station was still under construction. It wasn't even built yet. I'm like, oh, well, this really fucking sucks. It's like 20 miles, I think, or so to Ontario, and we pull back out on the highway. And as soon as I pulled back onto the interstate, gas light came on, and I think like 4 miles later, I was out of gas. So, well, I guess we'll just sit here. Luckily, my wife and kids were behind me in the truck, so we were going down for the boys are playing baseball in Idaho. And so they went down to Ontario, got a gas can and came back and got me some fuel. But it's like, shit. Can't believe everything on Google, especially fuel stations.
I've had to save Chad a few times on the hot rod.
Yeah, the hot rod.
Yeah. What do you get? 20, 30 miles
Yeah,
on
about
it?
35 miles to a tank.
Even when you got the gas gauge, it's nice, but which I was surprised with Hayden when he got his V-Star. It's the 1300 touring model. It's an 07, 08. And Yamaha didn't put a fuel gauge on it. It's got an idiot light. I'm like, really? This is your touring model and you didn't put a fuel gauge? But it's like, all right.
Watch your miles.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Well, you don't have a fuel gauge, do you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he doesn't have a fuel gauge on the hot rod.
Yeah, see, that's one of the things. One of my first my old Suzuki Boulevard didn't have a fuel gauge, had the idiot light, and you got to get in the habit of resetting your one of the trip meters, which I told Hayden, say, get in the habit when you fuel up, take whichever one you want, A or B, and always reset that. So but it's like when on our trip to Sturgis, he'd only had the bike 3-4 weeks maybe, and it's like, hey, do you want to go on an epic adventure? Let's ride to Sturgis next, in 2 weeks. Like, what? And he did. It was freaking amazing. I got to give him credit. He'd been riding on the road for a month when he takes off for, I think we did 3,200 miles in 8 days. And he did
That's
awesome. It
awesome.
was so much fun.
Yeah, I don't go under a quarter of a tank anymore.
I don't like to either because I swear to God, the gas gauge below a quarter tank goes way fast.
Mm-hmm. It goes really fast when you're going like 85, 90 too.
Yeah. Well, it's like between Washington and Oregon. I was coming back on a trip from Idaho, hitting the headwind so strong. I mean, I had my road glide. I mean, I had the throttle pinned, and I couldn't get more than 65 miles an hour. And if I let off the throttle, you swear to God, I was slamming on the brakes. And then you couldn't get that speed back. And just cut the fuel mileage down the drain. But the wind was
South
just
Dakota's like that,
severe. And for us, it's common to get that wind sometime and down that Columbia River Gorge between Washington and Oregon. Oh, Kimberly, no extra fuel storage is allowed on the Hoka. Hey, well, that sucks.
Yeah. Who's doing the whole K, Kimberly?
Not yet, anyway.
I would like to at some point, but even after, my wife following the pages and whatnot and seeing all this, of course, everybody from the guys I talk to, accidents do happen. Unfortunately, it seems like somebody passes away every year on it. And, Amy was watching my wife. She's like, there's no way you're riding it. It's not happening. Like, well, not in 2 years, but maybe 4. But yeah, I don't know.
Maybe in 2. Who knows? It's quite the route.
It is, and it's quite a personal challenge. I mean, and I love the way, that Craig wrote it. He's like, I just want to, finish it within the time. And even to come across to be a finisher on it is absolutely amazing because that is not a ride for everybody. That is a personal battle with yourself to get through that. And my hat's off to everybody that has finished that ride.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. I was just going to say that too. I mean, it's amazing. We watched those because we were there for a couple of days, and to watch them come in, it's pretty awesome to watch on.
I call it a family network that they all have as finishers is pretty powerful. A pretty powerful deal.
Very true.
To watch.
I've seen that through people's posts. It is. I mean, they're a tight group family.
Yep.
That really kind of pulled us towards that kind of the long distance riding stuff. We basically left Hot Springs and we talked about it the entire way back to Minnesota and just started making plans on, I looked and different ideas, and when she took off on her 1K, that was my fun time, is because I got to rig it for lights and everything else, and it made a difference.
Oh, and talk about that too. I mean, lights make a huge difference. Upgrading from the stock to, aftermarket lights. I mean, for me, fortunately, I got all the custom dynamics, and on my bike, it is night and day difference in the lighting. And lighting is so important on motorcycles, especially, at nighttime. The more you can see, the better off you are. And I learned that a lot, like when we did the Monsters Over Mountains. There's some areas in Eastern Washington, you're going down these highways where there are no road lights. So we're on, you got, I think it was 395. There's 2 lanes that go north, 2 lanes going south. And we're running basically 5 wide suicide. We're side by side on the highway. And everybody's got their high beams on. So it's like, you can light it up ditch to ditch and you can see great. And then it's like, you come to a car, everybody gets over to the one lane, and then, you split back and you take up both lanes of travel heading south. And with all the high beams on from 5 bikes, it's like you can really see well. And there are times even by yourself, having more lighting is huge, especially at nighttime on a bike, because you don't have the protection like a car. You want to be able to see all you can see and light up everything you can.
I don't see well at dark. I don't. I have horrible eyes. And that was always my concern.
She does now.
Boy, I do now. And that trip that we took to Iowa, that was our test run with the lights. We wanted to make sure that we either left at dark or came home at dark. And when we came home, we
were hauling. on a test highway in
Yeah,
Mexico.
closed course
In
highway.
Mexico.
Yeah,
Yeah.
closed course in Mexico.
Yeah. Go this bit.
You
And
don't have to in Mexico on a closed course.
yeah. And I could see. And he told me, he goes, that is the best that you have ever rode at dark. So, I mean, it just really changed because I could see everything. I saw the deer get hit in front of me. The car smucked that thing. So, yeah.
I think.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you
Riot
got
summed
you
it
have
up.
the fog lights plus the light bar on your street light, correct?
Mhm.
Yep.
Fog lights plus 4.5-inch lights on the crash bars, and then the 7-inch light bar. So she has her on the
Nice.
street lights. You put the passing regular Harley passing lamps, and then Riot kind of summed it up in that when we first met him, talked about the difference that the lighting makes to those extra seconds that can make such a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuck with me, so we made sure that she can.
Yeah, it's like mine. I mean, I had the Pro Beam adaptive headlights on the roadglide, plus I had the Custom Dynamics fog lights in my crash bars, and even the fog lights, it makes a big difference. The more lights you can have, the better off you can see, the safer you're going to be.
Yep.
I'm super comfortable with them now. I mean, especially because I can see everything I need to. And the deer turn white.
Yeah, they're bright. I mean, yeah, like when you do see a deer in the ditch, like the fur looks white. It washes them out that well. So,
Hey, that's good. Just remember, when you travel out other ways north, a moose, their eyes will not reflect headlights.
Interesting.
oh,
Actually, somebody told me that, and it was true. Yeah, they're the only animal in the deer family where their eyes, they do not reflect headlights. Which is crazy. I mean, they're the biggest ones there are. It's like, holy cow.
interesting. Didn't know that.
Have to remember that for sure.
Yeah, if you're traveling through some moose country.
Mexico doesn't have moose, so we're safe.
On a closed circuit.
Yeah, you got some coos deer down there, and some pigs.
Yeah, watch out for those.
Little wild pigs.
To the true American.
So, well, shoot, man. Thank you guys for wanting to come on and hang out. It's been a lot of fun. It's always fun to hear
Absolutely.
everybody's story and adventures, and it's keeps me doing this. I absolutely enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
for having us.
Oh, absolutely. It's been fun. So, hey, thanks everybody, guys, for tuning in to Milepost 87. Next week, we got Milepost 88 with the PDX Dyna crew. So, until then, guys, ride safe, have fun. Mandee and Chad, hey, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a lot of fun. We will see every you guys on the open road. Have fun, be safe, guys.